first time you ever remember being truly afraid? What was it? Does it stick with you today? This is the sort of thing that we talk about on the House of Asher. Won't you join us? The House of Asher, a clearinghouse for mind.
Hey, everybody, it's Steve Asher. Thanks for tuning in for episode 20. We've already up to episode 20. As you see, I have this little apparatus here. It looks like I'm talking into a tin can or into a robot's butt, but that's all for you guys. It's to make it sound a little bit better, make it not sound so janky, and I just want to give you guys a good audio experience. So that's kind of what's going on. Real quick, like I said, as you've seen, there's some different stuff that I've done here to the room, added a few things, moved a few things around. As the episodes go along, I may work the cameras to where it's slightly different, to where you're not going to just see the back of my head talking into a box. So we'll see what we can do with that and make it a little bit better for you. I'm really excited tonight. We're going to have a Mr. Kirk Stokes on. Those of you who are familiar with everything from cryptozoology to the LBL area and further east in Danville, Kentucky, that area. This man is very well known in this region for the type of work that he does with again cryptozoology, Bigfoot, dogmen, all kinds of cool stuff. I'm gonna bend his ear about some old lizardmen legends that I've heard of. I'm not sure if he's heard them or not. So we're both going to be learning some new stuff tonight. And as you see, this is a little different. This is a live stream, so I did have the audio for the intro, but not the little cool little fancy intro. I'll be working on that as things go along. Again, kind of a shoestring budget, and we're working on it as we go. But I'm super glad that you guys tuned in, and I'm getting ready to call Mr. Kirk Stokes, and we'll take it from there and see how our boy's doing and see if he can answer a few questions about the mysterious world of cryptozoology. So here we go, kids. Let's see what we can do.
Hello?
Hey, Mr. Stokes, Steve Asher.
How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm solid. Hey, I've got you live on air. I'm doing a live stream. Usually I do it, you kind of record it and whatnot. So, like I said, I'll try to watch my P's and Q's if you can watch yours. Like I said, I try not to cuss on it too awful much because you never know when kids are going to be coming by and whatnot. But yeah, man, welcome to the show. I really am in debt for you coming on. We've kind of been bouncing back and forth, talking to each other online for a while. And I was always more of the kind of along the ghost lines of stuff. And you were always more into the crypto world and stuff like that. And but it was one of those things; those worlds kind of blend into each other. Like you hear about creatures that can kind of come and go at will and seem to appear and disappear, and just different fantastical abilities, and it all kind of falls under that banner of the paranormal and kind of the mysterious. So again, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, I appreciate you asking me, brother. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it sometimes it tends to mix there. I've had a lot of people that I know that's strictly into paranormal. As though I've had paranormal experiences, I tend to deal with more on the cryptid side of things, with creatures, but it can get mixed there, because there is those times when it seems like there's only a paranormal explanation to it,
Right.
even with some, like you said, with some of these creatures,
Sure. Well, and that's the crazy thing is that, basically you take, okay, well, it's like, what's your surroundings? Well, a lot of times it's out in the woods, or, a lot of times it's at nighttime. A lot of times it's away from a bunch of folks, and you're out there with different type of equipment and gear and cameras and just all kinds of stuff where, maybe I might be doing more stuff with rods or voice recorders. You'll be out there, I'm assuming, making wood knocks and howls and all kinds of stuff, trying to pull these creatures in. So we're using different stimuli to kind of get their attention. But like you said, again, it kind of falls into the same neighborhood.
Oh, definitely. And I could see a collaboration mix now, I brought one of my best friends. She's in the past was really heavy into the paranormal, and I recently brought her on into this cryptid research with me, and she's definitely played a big part in this. You know, for things that normally I wouldn't use in my filming. You know. For these creatures, so it's definitely, you're right. I mean, it can be a great help to collaborate both sides, And I know some people don't want to do that. It's like the people in strictly that are. I'm known, I guess, a lot for dog men, but I also know a lot about Squatch. But a lot of times, those two groups. It seems like they're at odds all the time.
What I was going to say was, it does seem like, and it really bothers me that either you have some people that are maybe on kind of two different sides of it, like, well, we do paranormal research, and so, or we're looking at, say, spirits or whatnot, but all that Sasquatch stuff, come on now, and then it's like, okay, well, or back and forth, and then even like you said, something as close as a dog man or say some sort of reptilian or something like that, people will kind of go, it's just everybody has to be at odds with somebody, it seems like, and if you're lucky, and it seems like it does seem like it's sort of a trait, which is bad because, like I said, we're all kind of sitting on the fringe with it, and the more fringe you've got and the more collaboration that you got, to me it's only going to make a healthier scene.
Oh, you're right. I mean, and that's exactly right, because the way I explain it, I mean, you got dogmen, you got Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call them, and they both share the same atmosphere, just like we do,
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I tend to believe for the collaboration, especially even with the paranormal. Like I said, I brought my best friend in on my research because she can add a lot to it. Plus, she knows a lot. She's getting more accustomed to the cryptid, side of it. So it definitely helps when you do that.
Well, do you feel that, like almost like anything, if you're hunting for something or trying to track something down, it seems like a pair of fresh eyes, especially a pair of educated fresh eyes. Sometimes you can get somebody out there and they're going to hear a frog croak and go, "Oh my God, you hear that? That's whatever." Or and you really got to have somebody that's focused and that has
definitely,
and
definitely
right.
And it helps. I mean, like I said, my best friend, she is college educated. I'm not, but I'm more of, I just got whisked into this 20-something years ago with that experience I told on many occasions and on After Hours AM with you guys.
Right.
About over a year ago or whatever. And, I mean, it definitely helps to have because like you said, we're all on the fringe of it. No matter what you shoot, what video you shoot, what information you have, it's always going to be questioned. I mean, it just is going to be questioned,
Right. Well,
and that's up to the people who follow it. That's up to their judgment.
Sure.
Because I'm to the point, like I've said before on interviews, where I'm not merely trying to convince anything. It's definitely not about the money, in this research. It's more about it gets in your blood,
Right.
And that. I mean, if you're interested in it, that's what you want to do,
Right.
And
it seems like it's one of those things that's going to happen either way. I mean, if you get paid or not.
Depends on what you get and just your personal experience, I just like to show it now, because that's all you can do.
Right.
You can only convince so much, and it gets to a point where what's going on, and all you can do is tell about it or show it, the best you can.
Sure. Well, and
Yeah.
I mean, by nature, I mean, like you said, even with ghost hunting or paranormal research, you've got some folks are there just for the thrill of it to find something. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're not being disrespectful or trashing the area you visit. There's a certain thrilling element to this. But then, of course, then you got some folks that are along purely to debunk it. Which I mean, you kind of need a little bit of that just to kind of keep from getting too fantastical.
Yeah, you do. You need that side of rational thinking,
right?
Because no matter who comes in from the outside or inside, this subject, no matter it be paranormal or cryptid, it's always going to have that skeptical foresight.
Right.
So, it's good to have someone that's skeptical, because I'm skeptical, but it gets to the point where the stories that you have experienced and some of the stuff you show, it can be unbelievable. But what do you do? I mean, it is what it is,
Sure.
So
right. Well, I mean, I've known a lot of people that's come into this, look at guys like Stanton Freeman and some guys like that came in initially to debunk things and go like, well, after a while of watching some of this stuff, some stuff is obviously hoax or misconstrued or maybe misread, but then there are some things that are left that you go, look, it's I can't disprove it, and that's where you sort of then have to open yourself up, and that's what happens. Some people either just pull completely back from it, or like you said, open yourselves and go, well, something is out there. There's obviously things that are going on in our woods, just like as you've been down in our area in LBL. Which can you touch a little bit on the story about? I think it was it in the 70s where there was like a family that supposedly was camping and was attacked by something.
Yeah, I figured you were going to ask me that, brother. I touched a little bit of that with you all on After Hours AM.
Right.
And I've been asked, but actually I was asked about that about 2 weeks ago. And, even with someone that, you could say might be in the know, and I've inquired to people who might be in the know more on that. I haven't really honestly have any more information that was originally put out on it.
Right.
Well, my thoughts on it, I mean, if the experience did happen, I mean, it's a sad thing.
Sure.
Do I believe it happened? Personally, it's a 50-50, because I've seen reports before in different parts of the country of similar things,
sure.
that's taken place. So, I mean, it's possible, it's hard to
validate something that you just don't know for sure about.
Exactly.
Right.
Do I believe it's possible it happened? Yes. Right. In a rare instance, yes. It's very possible,
Well, can I ask you this, though? Putting that away, and like I said, understand too, the audience with this show is going to not be as familiar as some of those, but let me ask you this then on regards of like dogmen, and, there have even been reports of like reptilian type creatures around LBL. Where do you stand on that? Are you one way or the other? Have you had any recent sightings of any of these type of cryptids or creatures?
On that reptilian subject you're talking about, personally, I mean, about 5 years ago, I had an experience where I seen something in the thick brush that was almost predator-like, and where you could it was almost like the movie, Predator.
Like it's seeing you and seeing you a lot more than you're seeing it.
You could almost look through it, and the way it went through these trees and on the trees, it definitely wasn't from here. If it was,
See, that was another thing I was going to ask you about, because we can go really, really deep down into the conspiracy hole on this. You know, anything from, you know, stuff coming from, well, you remember like old Plum Island and all that stuff, and out toward New York, and things, you know, supposedly they'd say, well, here, we'll go to different parts of the country, which I know that sometimes they've reintroduced animals in this different, they're dry alligators in the sewers to, you know, Bat Boy and all this stuff. But you're saying you've literally had encounters with that. See, that would scare the crap out of me. You know?
Yeah, it did. That, you know, I mean, just a couple of days ago, I was talking to a friend, and like I told him, I mean, I'm still a man. I still get scared. Even with a few of these dogman creatures that I've been not too far from, you know, the fear never leaves you, you know, but it's being accustomed to, you know, being around it, you know, being around them. And, but at that time when I saw that thing through the trees and the way it moved through the trees, it was totally not natural. You know, a dogman to me is a natural creature.
Right.
That was born. You know, like a pup, and, you know, they grow up and they have a family. But this thing was truly almost invisible, you know. And I know there's been other reports of people having that kind of experience. That's the first time I think I've told that. I'm not for sure if I've mentioned that before on air, but it's something that sticks in the back of my mind.
Yes. See, I don't remember. Yeah, because that's why I was sitting there going, I don't remember that. If we did touch on it, that's pretty friggin'. That's pretty spooky. Let me ask you, and if you don't want to answer, that's fine. Especially going into the deep woods, and you're dealing with the possibility of running up on, man, feral hogs and all kinds of stuff. Do you know, take some sort of protection or precautions with you out there when you're out in the deep woods, or?
Now in the last year, I do carry protection, and I don't want to say. I mean,
no. That's what I said. Yeah, don't expose yourself too much.
But I do for different reasons now, and I used to go out alone all the time when I shoot, when I shoot film, but now I have almost a group with me. You know, a lot.
Well, I think that's healthy, just for the fact of collaborative testimony. You know, because you may I mean, especially it's like, well, I saw something from down here. Okay, and they said, well, maybe it was this, and another person said, no, I was off here to the flanking him on the left, and I would have had a clear vantage point. No, that definitely wasn't that.
Definitely.
You know,
because all my people, like I said, my best friend and the other people that mostly custom us or with us, they're always with cameras also, you know, and they're always, you know, carrying, you know.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes not for only, you know, animals or whatever. It's for other reasons, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you never know who's going to roll up on you, who will be out somebody squatting somewhere.
Definitely. I've been in squirrely situations before with different people,
right?
You know, and you never know what you're going to run into, and because some of these back areas are pretty desolate, you know.
Well, for sure.
And a lot of times your phone service don't work. You know,
exactly.
And you know how it is in Kentucky. The phone, for some reason, when you're out, like when you're in the middle of Daniel Boone, and I'm sure you've been there,
right?
The phone service does not work.
Oh yeah,
whatsoever.
Yeah. Hills and hollers are call killers, you know, and
definitely.
You know,
definitely.
Another thing I was wondering. Well, go ahead, and I was going to ask you another question when you're finished.
Well, if something comes up, you're basically on your own. You know,
sure.
I've been to Canada and Alaska, fortunately, and you know, even in those places, it seemed like my phone service worked in some of those places, and in Kentucky, it just seems like you don't have it. You know, it's the weirdest thing, because you would think up in Canada and Alaska, it wouldn't work either. But it did work, you know. And, you know, it's just kind of ironic, you know. But out of all those places, I still, like I said, I was born and raised in Kentucky, and Kentucky has some of the most strangest creatures I've ever seen.
You know, it was weird, and I'll make a comment. I'm going to ask you a question. I don't know if you grew up on like B movies and things like that, and like old scary movies and things. If you did, there was a guy, which he does a lot of stuff. He does stuff for Lifetime, does stuff for all kinds of different channels now, but he started cutting his teeth with like stuff like there was a movie like Alien Dead and like Texas Chainsaw Hookers and all kinds of crazy, you know, stuff you'd see on late night movies and stuff by the name of Fred Olin Ray. And he was an Ohio boy, which he moved to Florida. And because I was talking to him about it, because I said, this show is it's going to have a very Southern element, you know, if nothing more, just the way I talk and the way I carry myself. I said, it's just the nature of it. And he said, you know, that was the thing about growing up in the hills and hollers and swampland area like Florida's got. He says you see a lot of stuff that you never really are going to be able to explain. So you either got to you got to make peace with it and either go, well, that's just part of nature and go on with it, or you know, some people can't stick around for it. You know, I've known some people that try to live in this area, and that's close to the LBO area, and would see oddball things and just they couldn't deal with it. And the question I was going to ask you was this: are you familiar with any? I know you're talking about Dogman stories. Have you heard anything about any sort of hog man related stories here in LBL?
I'm sorry, brother. Can you repeat that? Because you broke up. I'm out in the field.
Sure. That's fine. Did like in all your stuff going through LBL, had you ever encountered anything? Because I know there's feral hogs there. Have you ever heard of anything relating to like a hog man or a hog boy story down in that area?
Not really. Not personally. I mean, somebody once in a gray moon might have said something, you know, about it,
right?
About something like that. Like up in, darn it, I'm trying to think of the town up here, way down on the river in Kentucky, where they have Goat Man, you know.
Yeah, is that around Hazard?
I'm not for sure. I'm kind of in a brain tease right now. Like it's on the tip of my tongue. I've been there, and the people that seen it that I've interviewed, that I've talked to, because I've personally never seen that type. I believe them, you know, and that was similar to what they described to me as a being that had a type of a hog type face, you know.
Yeah.
And but was built like a squatch.
See, that's really interesting because you would just assume it would be more human type. So it's almost like a hybrid.
Yeah, true.
Wow.
You know, and maybe someone like Bart Nunley, you know, would probably be more, you know, accustomed to that. I think he's from that area. You know.
Well, I might try to get in touch with him. Let me ask you one more thing, and again, because I know you're a busy guy, and I promised I wouldn't keep you on here real long.
Oh, you're fine.
Now, I know, like you said, you're having doing some new videos and stuff. Is there any projects that you want to talk about real quick before I wind this down?
Yeah, actually, brother, I appreciate that. I'm working on a privately funded documentary.
Cool.
And this documentary, I'm hoping, as far as the two people that are involved with me on it, will be coming out in no later than the fall of 2019. Not this fall, but the next fall.
That's exciting.
And I want to make it 3 to 4 hours.
That sounds great.
Documentary.
Yeah, man. I definitely want to be in on checking that out.
That would be awesome. I mean, you know, and it's going to be a collaboration of my videos I've never shown and stuff I've recently got. There's some stuff that I call a bear wolf that I have gotten video of.
Wow.
And that would be going into the documentary.
Dude, that's a great teaser too.
Yeah, it will be, and it's a thing where, I mean, I might here in the near future put up stills on my channel of that, but the actual video, I think it deserves to be in a documentary.
Yeah.
There's two other people that have seen a clip of the video, and one of them was a professor, and yeah, I think it's worthy of it. And the footage that I have put up for the last 6-7 years, you know, most of it is not fully, it's just clips. So I took a lot of heat for putting the clips up and just showing them off the video finder, you know. I did that for a reason at first. I had a computer, and I was never really computer literate, you know.
Well,
but no one has ever seen any of those videos that are full videos, you know.
Man, that's going to be awesome. And like you said, that's going to be out sometime in 2019.
Yes, the latest projection is at least by fall of 2019. I brought my best friend in on it, and she's a master at the video tech and all that, and another person. And the reason why I'm doing it self-funded, I don't want to ask money for it, though it's okay, you know, for people to do that. I just figure it all lies on me, you know. No one can say, oh, we invested the money and he didn't do it the way we wanted.
And then, and sometimes you deal with people, and that's one thing that I've been always very hesitant about doing a whole lot, like video-wise or show-wise, is the fact that you'll have somebody go, okay, this is kind of cool, but well, why don't we spice this? They want to like plant something, they want to do something. It's like, no, you're taking away from the integrity of it, and you really got to be careful. You got to keep that close to your chest.
Definitely, you're so right, brother. I mean, I've had a lot of outside people, even producers and stuff, come to me and want to do projects. For one reason or another, they've either backed out or the money wasn't there. So I've gotten to a point where I've collaborated with my best friend and this other person, and we have the funds to do it privately.
Dude, that's awesome. Anytime, and it's so crazy because, like I said, I've been following you for some years, and like,
I appreciate that.
Well, I was kind of following you, I think, before I even started writing and doing books and whatnot, and that's what I always say. I'm a fan of especially anybody I have on. It's because I like what they're doing, and the integrity of their work and the quality of their work, and I'm just pleased as punch to have you on. And I'll tell you what, I would, if you even have a clip or something that privately or something, I'd love to see that one of these days once you get close to getting to the end of it.
Awesome.
And
awesome.
And like I said, man, anytime you get that ready and get it out, I will plug it as much as I can.
I appreciate that, and I think you're a good orator and everything else you do. That's why I went on the After Hours AM show when you asked, with Joe, and I think y'all did great on that radio channel.
Well, I appreciate it. The funny thing is, like I said, me and Joe still talk. There's no bad blood or nothing. It's just, I was doing so much with my books, and he would want to do like all live, like a 2-hour or 3-hour show. I'm just like, brother, I've got a house full of kids. I'm trying to write books. I just don't have the time to commit to that. And so now I can do this and either record it or like I'm doing this a live feed right now, and do it on my time and my dime, and I don't have that pressure of work. Do you and if you happen to have a link to, I don't know if you have any pages up or anything about your stuff, and even if you don't have them in front of you, maybe send a link to me and I'll try to put them in the in here on the description of this once we get off the phone here in a minute, and we can try to get you some more interest in there and get some more exposure for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It would be, Kirk Stokes 19 YouTube, because I don't have a website. Right. That YouTube would be the only viable website right now.
That'd do it.
I just uploaded a clip where I was at back in January of this year. I had my best friend with me, and the squatches started howling and everything. and it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we were kind of deep coming out of this valley I call Dark Valley. And it's very rarely you get them when you're right there and you have someone else right there, you know. And I tried to get the sounds more to where you could hear them. On the description I put, if you just wear the headphones, you can clearly, you know, hear it.
Right.
And but that was a good clip, and I held that clip because I've been busy, you know, doing a little bit of work in the past, and you know, it's just, you know how Kentucky is. It's so damn humid. It's like Columbia.
Oh, dude, yeah, I'm sitting here. I have a small little office I got, and I've got one fan kind of over on the other side of the room pulling air out. I've got the one by me turned off, so I'm sitting there sopping, man. So I totally understand that. And like you said, that's how it is in Kentucky, man. It's just extremely humid, and people just think, I guess.
It is, and you know, and that's what makes the research. If you're willing to go out and do this stuff, you know, the half of it is dealing with the elements. Like I said, I've been to a lot of places, fortunately, and I prefer the colder weather climates.
Right.
But unfortunately, I'm Kentucky bound. You know,
I can dig it.
And you have to deal with the humid. You know, and today was actually one of the most humid days I think we've had yet. You know, this year.
Well, all that rain, man, it's you know how it is. It's just bringing out.
It's the storms and the rain and the sun. Yeah, it's 110% humidity. Right. You know, and but my best shoots come. The video I take, by the way, is usually in the fall in Kentucky. You know, in the autumn and fall, and not only because it's easier on my body, but it seems like they come out more. When the temperature the humidity ceases.
Right.
You know.
Right. Well, that was like, you know, with us, because a lot of times if we do a lot of stuff out, especially if we're doing photography, I prefer fall or very early spring before there's very many bugs. You know, if you're trying to do EVPs and you've got friggin' cicadas going ape up in the tree, all you're going to get's that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you have to kind of pick and choose your locations and times for sure.
Definitely. Right. And it's the same way in the cryptid field. When we lay recorders out, you know, it's hard to, with the crickets and the cicadas and stuff in June and July, at night it's hard to decipher a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah, the tree frogs and all that. I mean, you really have to tune your ear to kind of read through that kind of white noise of nature. And
and someone, you know, majority that aren't accustomed to it naturally probably wouldn't be able to pick stuff up the first time out of it.
Right.
But when we do it and you do it, you know, you're so accustomed to it, you know what you got.
Absolutely. You know? Yeah. Well, listen, Kurt, like I said, man, I appreciate having you on. I won't hold you on. I know you've been working out in the woods all day. You're probably ready to kick back and have you some dinner.
I was just clearing some trees, from this storm debris, you know, for people, and I'm about ready to call it a day, but I really appreciate you coming to me and asking me to be on with you, you know. Man. And because it's been about a year since I've given an interview.
Right.
And I don't do a lot of them. I've been asked by quite a few people, and I don't rarely now do many. I will, you know, if I'm in the right mindset. Right. You know.
No, man. I
really do appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate you doing it, and like I said, maybe once especially y'all getting back to time, getting ready to let the video out and this and that, I'd love to have you back on, and you know, if you can work me into your schedule, and
that would be awesome.
Killer.
I really would. You know.
Well, Kurt,
I really appreciate that.
Man, me too. Like I said, I'm in your debt.
Hopefully me and you can get together somewhere down there. I know you're in Western Kentucky.
Right.
I think.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm about 10 miles from Ediville, which is just, I live in Princeton, Kentucky, which is maybe 20 minutes out of LBL.
Cool. Yeah, I've been there quite a few times.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
and that would be awesome.
Well, man, again, I won't hold you. God bless you, the best of your family. And like I said, thank you for coming on the show. And what I'll do is, I guess I'll go ahead and hang up with you and, finish up talking to these folks. And thank you again, man. I am in your debt.
Awesome. Thank you, and blessings.
You too.
To you and your family.
Thank you so much, sir.
I appreciate that, brother.
All right, buddy. Have a good night.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Mr. Kirk Stokes, man, that dude is extremely laid back, very humble, to a fault. Very, very good gentleman, and I'm indebted for him to being on the show. As you can see, it's hot in here, guys. It's very hot in here, but thank God, the sun's starting to settle a little bit. The shadows are starting to grow long. Hopefully, to God, this heat's going to break. But as you get ready to wind down, kick back, check your doors, check your closets, check under your bed, check out that back window. Might have a dog man or some sort of weird Bigfoot hog hybrid out there going through your trash. Make sure your cats are okay. But until next time, I want you guys to love yourselves, love each other, and stay scared.